She can remain at council table.
Thank you. I'm going to move the microphone. I need to speak loudly because this is not amplified.
Okay. Is this loud enough, Judge?
I can hear you.
Thank you for letting me speak. My son-in-law, Dan Markel, was a fine and decent man. He was well educated and passionate about his career. He was a good son-in-law, but more importantly, he was a caring and loving father. On July 18th, 2014, his car was followed, leaving his home. It should have been just like any other day, an ordinary day in the life of Ben and Lincoln's father, but it wasn't. He didn't know when he left his boys off at daycare that would be the last time he would see them and the last time they would see him. He didn't know when he went to the gym afterwards that would be the last time he would exercise. And he didn't know when he drove home that his life would end within minutes. Danny wasn't just being followed, he was being hunted. He was brutally murdered in broad daylight, sitting in his car, in his garage, by vicious killers. I cannot imagine the terror he felt when he saw a gun pointed at him through the window of his car. I cannot conceive of his heroic efforts to stay alive during the hours after the attack. Danny died in the early morning hours of July 19th. His death is a loss to his children, his parents, his sister, all of us in his family, his friends, his colleagues in the legal community, and to his students at FSU Law School. Danny's boys each have a photo of themselves with their Abba, their dad, beside their beds. They grew up kissing the framed photo and saying, "Good night, Abba, I love you." But pictures and memories are all they have because cruel, cold-hearted people took him from all of us who loved him. My heart was broken when Danny died. My grandsons were going to grow up without the father who loved them. I wondered, how could we help these boys through this trauma? It was then that my husband and I knew that the best way to honor Danny's memory would be to share with these children an abundance of love, the love that Danny would have given them if he were alive. It is interesting how the state can't make up its mind about who is what they call the, quote, mastermind behind this murder. In both of Catherine Magbanowa's trials, the state claimed she was the mastermind behind Danny's murder. In my son Charlie Adelson's trial, they claimed he was the mastermind. And now in my trial, they claimed that I, this grandma, was the mastermind behind the murder. I had no idea that other people planned to cut Danny's life short. And the people who did this are exactly where they deserve to be. But I had no knowledge that this horrible, evil act was going to take place. If I had become aware of this plan before Danny was murdered, I would have stopped it. With not one iota of actual evidence, the state convinced a Tallahassee jury that I solicited and conspired with other people to have Danny killed. Where is the evidence prior to the murder? The evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that the state needed to prove their case. Where is the evidence before July 18th, 2014 at 10:50 in the morning?
Before you continue, Mrs. Adelson, as it relates to this statement, Is the defense trying to re-argue the trial?
No, Judge, just giving Ms. Adelson an opportunity to be heard.
Mrs. Adelson, you certainly can continue. However, the court can take into consideration the utter lack of remorse that you are displaying. Please proceed if you desire to do so.
Where is the evidence before July 18th, 2014 at 10:50 a.m. that revealed that I had any involvement in this vile and horrific act? Where is the solicitation and conspiracy evidence? The state needed to show that there was evidence before the murder to convict me. The state couldn't show that because there wasn't any evidence. They were trying an innocent person. It makes you wonder if the jurors were sleeping when the state had Sergeant Corbett on the stand for hours. Their own star witness testified that my phone was never, I repeat, never at my son's house on the night of the murder. The state's theory that my husband and I dropped off money to my son was blown out of the water by their own witness. And yet, the state continued to push that story, that lie of the so-called money drop, to the jury through the remainder of the trial. And the jury bought into it, hook, line, and sinker. Reasonable doubt. Many months ago, my attorneys filed a motion for a change of venue. An expert witness testified that Tallahassee had been barraged with over 9 years of negative social media, printed news, television news, and podcast publicity about my family. He explained to the court, both with evidence and demonstratives, that for me to receive a fair trial, it needed to be held in any of the researched and designated areas in the state of Florida other than Tallahassee. All I wanted was a level playing field, but the court wanted the trial here in the hotbed of Tallahassee. I sat through 3 days of jury selection. 180 potential jurors were asked if they had developed an opinion in my case. Those that answered yes also added, "I believe she is guilty." Not one person, not one, said, "I think she may be innocent." That should have been a clue to the court to grant our motion for a change of venue, but the court denied the motion. One of my jurors admitted during jury selection that she had background information concerning what one of the state's witnesses would be testifying about. Why was she allowed to be on my jury?
What moment?
Another juror.
Mrs. Fulford,
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Mr. Zellman, again, this has nothing to do with elocution of any sort. This is a raising of grievances which are properly given to the appellate court. What does any of this have to do with sentencing?
Could I have just one moment, please?
Turn that phone off or step out. When the phone is off.
Please.
What happened to Danny is unforgivable. But I am an innocent woman convicted of this terrible crime without evidence. Danny was a brilliant legal scholar. He would have been appalled at the total lack of justice that went on during my trial. He would have been embarrassed to have his name associated with any of it. There are two crimes here. The first was Danny being viciously murdered. The second one is taking my life, the life of an innocent woman. Convicting me should not be retribution for Danny's death. That is not justice for Dan. I've always respected the law. I've never gotten a parking ticket, but I'm going to prison for a murder I did not commit. I do intend to file an appeal so that hopefully I have the opportunity to be given a fair trial outside of Tallahassee. 11 years ago, Danny was murdered and taken from all of us who loved him. For the past 9.5 years, the state has broadcast to the world, including Danny's parents and sister, that I hired hitmen to kill him. Never in a million years would I have wanted Danny to be harmed or killed, nor could I ever do something that would leave these two small boys to grow up without him. I love these boys more than life itself. This is a lifetime of loss for these children. They didn't deserve this. His family didn't deserve this. Danny didn't deserve this. And so, as I appear before you today, Your Honor, I promise you with my whole heart, I swear to you on my life, I was not involved in any way with Danny's murder. I was not.